And now, live from New York, let's meet our What's My Line panel. First, the popular columnist whose voice of Broadway appears in papers from coast to coast, Miss Dorothy Kilgallen.
And now the author of a wonderful new bestseller, The Fratricides, Mr. Maurice Edelman.
And I'd like to introduce, on my left, an old friend of mine. I've known her at least half an hour, Miss Phyllis Newman, the beautiful and talented young actress, straight back from London.
And on my left, the president of Random House, who has a big week coming up. His son, Christopher, is going to graduate from Harvard. Bennett Cerf.
Nice to see Maurice Edelman here, a Random House author. I have a letter this week from somebody in Johannesburg, South Africa, saying it might interest you to know that the 4 principal exports of South Africa are gold, diamonds, sorghum, and John Charles Davis. We have no gold or diamonds or sorghum around us, but here in person is John Charles Davis.
Well, I must say that practically leaves me speechless. I'm glad in a way, because I really want to congratulate Bennett on his son's graduation at Harvard this week. I think that's something to be really proud of, Pa. Arlene is at home, and I think we will all agree needs still to be cheered up, so we're going to cheer her up tonight, panel. Mr. Edelman, I'm glad we got a member of the House of Commons here, and Phyllis, it's nice to have you back from England, because we've got a first one that's a zinger for you tonight, and I hope Arlene has a lot of fun with it. We'll also have a famous mystery guest before my friends on the panel a little bit later in the program, and we'll meet our first challenger. And now to meet our first challenger, will you enter and sign in, please? Viola Scott, right? Is it Miss or Mrs. Scott?
Mrs.
Mrs. Scott, where are you from?
Amarillo, Texas.
Amarillo, Texas.
Amarillo, Texas.
Well, it's nice to have a Texan with us tonight.
Thank you.
Amarillo is that wonderful city that has the green park in the middle, out in the middle of all the dry land, isn't it?
Well, it doesn't. We have parks, but not too many.
Not too many?
No.
Well, you should be proud of the ones you have, because that's dry country. May I present our panel, Mrs. Scott? Now, will you join me over here, please? Do you know how we keep score, Mrs. Scott?
Yes, I do.
Fine, then we'll let the audience in the theater and the audience at home know exactly what your line is. Panel, Mrs. Scott is self-employed and deals in a product. And we'll begin the general questioning with Bennett Cerf.
Mrs. Scott, would this product be representative of the state of Texas, where you come from?
From the state of Texas.
Would be representative of the state of Texas. I would say that it has a direct relationship to something that you would think of when you think of Texas, yes.
Is your product, or has it ever been alive?
No.
1 down and 9 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Well, is it possible to find this product in New York?
Yes.
Just a moment. You're speaking of New York City?
State.
State. Oh. I think we could sneak one through there. Yes, we can find it in New York State. Mm-hmm.
Is it something that would be found outdoors rather than indoors?
Outdoors.
But it's never been alive. Does it have any connection with anything that might be alive?
Yes.
Is it something that would be used on a farm or a ranch?
Ranch.
Just say yes.
Thank you, Mrs. Scott. It would be used on a ranch, out of doors on a ranch. Is it something that is used in connection with cattle?
Yes.
Is it used by cowboys, cowhands?
You mean specifically by cowhands at a cowhand in the normal pursuit of his
Well,
occupation?
could he use it? Would it be possible for him to use it under any conditions?
Well, I would think we would have to say there no, because it hasn't any direct relationship to the individual cowhand. That's 2 down and 8 to go, Mr. Edelman.
Well, Mrs. Scott, are you happy in your work? You've got a nice, cheerful smile.
Beg your pardon?
Are you happy in your work?
Oh, yes.
You are, indeed. Now, this product of yours, I take it that it could not be used in London as easily as it could be used in Texas.
That's right. Yes, it could not be used as easily in London as it could be in Texas.
That's a yes. Now, is it made of a leather material, by any chance?
No. That's 3 down and 7 to go, Miss Newman.
Thank you. Mrs. Scott, you use this product in connection with the cattle. Do you touch the cattle or feed them in any way with this? You don't touch them.
Well, are you speaking about Mrs. Scott's either touching the cattle
No,
or
the
bringing
product.
them food?
The product that she has. Does someone use this to touch the cattle?
Does somebody use this? Well, I would think we would agree here that you're close enough to the truth to give you a
I'm thinking
yes.
of something specifically. When someone touches the cattle with this thing, does it sizzle?
Does it sizzle? That's 4 down and 6 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Mrs. Scott, when the cattle touch this product, is it some particular part of the cattle, usually that touch some same part that touches this product?
Well, I would think that any well-oriented cattle would use it in such a manner as to tend to touch the same part most of the time. Wouldn't you say so? Yes, but we'll have to have a small conference. I've never had one of these myself.
Well, certainly, well, I won't say anything.
I don't think John knows much about Texas.
Bennett, we don't want to mislead you, so that I would just say again that any well-behaved member of the troop would tend, in using it, to apply it to the same general areas, yes.
Would the general area, Mrs. Scott, be above the neck of the cattle?
Above the neck of the cattle, that's...
That's right, John.
No, right?
No.
No. 5 down and 5 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Are the cattle, Mrs. Scott, happier or better off because of this product?
Yes.
It isn't anything that irritates them, is it?
No.
Or upsets them? But it is not food or drink, is it?
No.
It has no connection with food or drink?
No.
Is it something that is worn below the neck?
Something that is worn below the neck. That's 6 down and 4 to go, Mr. Edelman.
Is it something that's more beneficial to cattle than to human beings?
Yes.
And is it something which has to be manufactured?
Yes.
Is it something which, when manufactured, I could hold in a single hand? If I was strong enough?
I didn't hear the question.
Well, is it something, when manufactured, that Mr. Edelman could hold in his one hand?
No.
No, I think it would be pretty much of a chore for you. That's 7 down and 3 to go, Miss Newman.
Mrs. Scott, does every head of cattle have one of his own?
No.
8 down and 2 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Which they did.
Mrs. Scott, is this product used in any way for the cattle to recline or rest on?
No.
9 down and 1 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Mrs. Scott, does this product ever act as an enclosure for cattle?
No.
No. 10 down and no more to go, and actually it's just a good old-fashioned back scratcher. Mrs. Scott is president of Old Scratch Incorporated, and I can only give you a general... There's a central tank which has an insecticide in it, and then it has 2 sections that fold out from it, and the cattle come in between the tank and the outward sections, and they scratch themselves on it, and as they do it, the insecticide automatically comes out of the glockenspiel, and this gets onto the Mergentroid, and the first thing you know, the cattle have no more longer about the Putensnaden. You see what I mean there? Yeah. But it's really quite a gadget, because it allows the cattle a good deal of relief and cleans up some of the... What? Mm-hmm.
Can they do this whenever they want?
Yeah, you set it up, you set the tank up with the thing, and the cattle get, it's like everything else. You like where you get your back
Habit
scratched.
forming, isn't it, Mrs. Scott?
Beg pardon?
Would you say this was a habit forming thing?
Well, it didn't have forming, but they like it.
What did they do before the machine?
Well, they used to spray. This eliminates the spraying and dipping of cattle.
I see.
And they used to scratch themselves against fences and things like
yes.
that before. Actually, when you said, Phyllis, did every head of cattle have one of these to himself? Mrs. Scott said, I wish they did. I can see why she would. Thank you very much, Mrs. Scott. It's a lot of fun having you with us. Now to meet our second challenger, will you enter and sign in, please? Mary Margaret Revell, right? Is it Miss or Mrs.?
It's Smith,
Miss Revell. And where are you from?
Detroit, Michigan.
Detroit, Michigan.
Yes.
Oh, nice to have you with us. Miss Revell, the panel, if I may. You join me over here, please. You know how we keep score.
Yes.
All right, we'll let the audience in the theater and the audience at home know exactly what your line is. All right, panel, we can tell you that Miss Revell is self-employed and deals in a service. And let's begin the general questioning with Phyllis Newman.
Thank you, John. Miss Revell, is this service something that both men and women can use?
Yes.
This thing that you do, is it something that would be connected, you're a very attractive girl, is it something that could be either construed as theatrical or athletic?
Yes.
Yes. Do you do what you do? When you do what you do, and do you do what you do? No. When you do what you do you use your body a great deal?
Yes.
Is it something that you learned? Did you learn it? Had to go to school or something to learn this?
Well, now, you want to pin this down
No,
as
not
to
to
requiring school education?
No, but did you have to study what you do?
Well, and it's hard here, Phyllis, to not be unfair. Now, if you're asking, is a special degree and character of instruction necessary?
No, I didn't mean that at all. I'll go on to the next question.
All right.
Do you do what you do for an audience?
Sometimes.
People pay to see you?
No.
No. That's one down and 9 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Miss Revell, can I narrow this activity down to some form of athletic endeavor?
Yes.
Is it done outdoors?
Yes.
Is it done more as an individual than as a member of a team?
Yes.
Is it done on land?
No.
Oh, darn.
2 down and 8 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Is it done on water?
Yes.
Is it done in conjunction with any form of apparatus, aside from your own body and your bathing suit? Do you have
No.
anything with you?
You mean
No.
that she uses herself as a personal part of the activity?
Well, is there anything else involved besides just yourself? Anything non-human?
No.
That's 3 down and 7 to go, Miss Edelman.
Miss Revell, you're a very beautiful girl. Could we use your services in England?
Yes.
Are your services related in any way to the instruction of others in the activity that you pursue?
No.
4 down and 6 to go, Miss Newman.
Can we narrow it down, Mr. Revell, that you do some sort of aquatic sport, swimming, for example? Now, you swim and people come to see you, but they don't pay. Are you an amateur? You're not considered professional.
No, I'm not an amateur.
Oh.
That makes it 5 down and 5 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Miss Revell, are your activities more confined to swimming than to diving?
Yes.
Are you, have you got some kind of a title as an amateur in swimming ranks?
No.
Well, now this, I think, with your permission, will qualify. Because I think what Mr. Cerf is getting at here, do you have a record which is outstanding,
won
which
some
would stand to get
medals?
win
What I
some,
meant by that,
set some records or...
No records at all?
But you said as an amateur, Bennett, right?
Well, she said she was an amateur.
No. 6 down and 4 to go. That's Miss Kilgallen.
Well, have you won any meets or any prizes as a professional?
Have you won any meets or prizes as a professional? Yes.
Yes.
Do you do anything aside from ordinary straightaway swimming in your work now?
No, it's straightaway swimming. Actually, I'm going to put the cards up because substantially you've got it, because it gets very particular and interesting now. Miss Revell is a professional long-distance swimmer and holds a great many records. So far, would you just list some of the swims that you've made? I know this.
Well, I hold 8 world records. My latest swim was the Straits of Messina in Italy, round trip. And other swims have been the Bosphorus, the Dardanelles, the Straits of Gibraltar, the Sea of Marmara, the Bay of Algeciras, the Straits of Mackinac.
Well, what are you going to do next?
Well, my next swim is the Bay of Biscay, a very small part of it, in France. And after that, I'm going back for my second attempt on the English Channel. And after that, I have about 10 other swims.
Ah, wonderful. Congratulations,
Thank you
and I
very
hope
much.
that you have a successful fundraiser. Thanks very much. We'll meet our mystery guest in just a moment, but first, here is a word from our sponsor. Now we come to the special feature of our program, the appearance of our mystery challenger, for which the panel, as always, is blindfolded. Blindfolds all in place, panel?
Yes.
Indeed.
Good. Will you enter mystery challenger and sign in, please? All right. All right, panel. Remember, a different form of questioning, one question at a time, in turn, moving clockwise, and we'll begin with Dorothy Kilgallen.
Are you in motion pictures?
Well, maybe I am, and maybe I
I think we'll have to give you 1 down and 9 to go on that. Mr. Edelman?
Have you crossed the Atlantic lately?
Maybe I did, and maybe I didn't. Yes, I did.
Miss Newman?
Are you currently, or in the past season, have you appeared on a television show?
Maybe I did, and maybe I didn't.
Well, now, really.
Yes, he did.
Oh.
Mr. Cerf?
When you appeared on this television show, did you ever raise your supposedly different voice than you're giving us now in song?
Sometimes I did, and sometimes I didn't.
Miss Kilgallen?
Would you like to give us the answer to that, John?
That was yes.
Oh. Could you play a handsome leading man if you had to?
Well, to save him...
Maybe I could, and maybe
And that also means yes. Mr. Edelman?
In that case, could I ask you, are you male or female?
No. You can't do that, Morris, because it's got to be answered yes or no. You can take one or the other.
Are you female?
That's 2 down and 8 to go, Miss Newman.
Are you known primarily as a singer?
Yes, I am.
Mr. Cerf?
Did you ever form part of an act a couple of years ago with a very clever lady named Kay Thompson?
Maybe I did, and maybe I didn't.
Did you?
Yes.
Andy Williams.
Andy, I thought we were going to have some trouble when they got to television, the Andy Williams show on the unnamed network, NBC, on Thursday nights, I believe.
Yes, that's right.
And what are you up to now?
Well, I'm on my way to Philadelphia. I open there tomorrow night. Outside of Philadelphia at the Latin Casino for 2 weeks.
You're going to move around all summer then?
Then I'm going to do some tours with Henry Mancini and his band in the Northwest, in Seattle and Portland and Vancouver, and a couple fairs.
Good. Of course, I think Andy is remarkable as one of those rare people on television who seems so thoroughly relaxed all the time. And Must say that it shows here. He hasn't got a bit of nerves. Many people...
Somebody said that he made Perry Como look like a fellow with St. Vitus Day.
Well, really, we hope you have a wonderful summer, and it's nice of you to stop by and visit us in What's My Line.
Well, it's such a favorite show of mine. I'm delighted to have a chance to come on it.
I thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Good night.
John.
Good to see you. Well, I guess on points you've done rather well so far tonight, panel. We'll have another contestant after this word from our alternate sponsor. Will you enter and sign in, please? Omer Elsasser? Elsasser. How are you? All right. Can you tell us where you're from, Mr. Elsasser?
Clifton, New Jersey.
Clifton, New Jersey. May I present our panel, sir? Would you join me over here? You know how we keep score? Fine, then we'll let the audience in the theater and the audience at home know exactly what your line is. All right, panel, we can tell you that Mr. Elsasser is salaried and deals in a product, and we'll begin the general questioning with Mr. Edelman.
Is it a product that I could use, Mr. Elsasser?
Yes, you could.
Could it be used equally in, say, Britain and America?
Oh, yes, indeed.
Is it something which is used indoors?
Yes, it is.
Is it decorative or is it useful? Is it something which is useful in the household?
It's both, I would think.
And in addition to being useful...
It's useful in the house.
Yes, it's useful. Is it something which, in addition to being useful, is also ornamental?
I would not want to call it all ornamental because I think it would mislead too many people. That's one down and nine. This is not to say that at some moment you might fix it so and say, isn't it pretty? But then you wouldn't leave it forever, you know. Miss Newman.
If I had this product in my home and it were a two-story house, would it be on the main floor?
I should think so.
Would it be in either the bathrooms or the kitchen most of the time?
Yes, it might
be. Is it something that has movable parts?
2 down, a date to go, Mr. Cerf.
Mr. Elsasser, is this product of yours consumable?
Yes, it is.
Is it imbibed through the mouth?
Yes, indeed.
Is it eaten?
Yes, it is.
In other words, it's a food rather than a drink.
That's correct.
Is it a food that is used by both sexes?
Oh, yes, indeed.
Without any opprobrium attached thereto?
Correct.
Is it a food that could be used really more for one meal than another, or for most of the time?
It could be used for any meal.
But more likely it would be
More
used
likely
for
for
one kind of a meal rather than another.
That's correct.
Could we eliminate breakfast from those considerations, then? Would it be more likely to be used either at luncheon or dinner than at breakfast?
I would think so.
Is it an accessory rather than a main course?
Could be.
It could be.
Is it any part of the vegetable kingdom?
Yes, it is.
Is it green in its natural state?
Not in its natural state.
And I'm afraid we're running out of time, so I'm going to have to throw all the cards over. Just one quick guess. What do you think it is, Phyllis?
Turnips. Tomatoes.
Toothpaste.
No, how's spaghetti? No. Mr. Elsasser, with the C.F. Muller Company.
C.F.
Muller Company in New Jersey, and spaghetti is it. Thank you very much, sir. I'm sorry we didn't have more time.
Thank you.
You will. And I'm afraid, panel, I've used up all the time. Good night to all of you, particularly nice to see you, Phyllis and Mr. Edelman, and good night, Arlene, and thanks for being with us on What's My Line?
What's My Line is a CBS television network production in association with Mark Goodson and Bill Todman. Johnny Olson speaking.
Hi, I'm Gary Collins.